Have you ever had one of those moments? You spend hours and hours studying, but by the time the test rolls around, it feels like it all just vanished? If you are so tired of spinning your wheels, then you're in the right place. We're going to break down a really powerful system that actually locks knowledge into your brain. And trust me, it's going to save you a massive amount of time and frustration. Let's dive in.
Does this sound familiar? A student on Reddit posted this, and wow, it just captures a struggle so many of us know all too well. We put in the hours, right? We take all the notes, but then we're stuck cramming at the absolute last minute. But here's the thing. This isn't about you not trying hard enough. It's a problem with the method you're using. So the real enemy of effective learning has a name. It's called passive review. Think about it. Is your study routine mostly just rereading your notes, maybe highlighting a few passages, or just kind of glancing over examples in the textbook? It feels super productive, I get it, but what it's really doing is creating a false sense of familiarity with the material. You're not actually learning it.
So where does this whole inefficient trap even begin? Well, for most of us, the problem starts the very moment we sit down in the lecture and decide how we're going to take our notes.
Okay, and this is so important. When we just mindlessly type out every single word a professor says, our brain basically switches off. We're not students anymore, we're court reporters, just transcribing. But we should be processing and understanding, and this, right here, has a huge impact on what we actually remember later on.
Which, believe it or not, brings us to a surprisingly important question about the tools we use. Because that simple choice, between a pen and a keyboard, can fundamentally change how we process information from the very start.
So what do you think? I mean, we can all type way faster than we can write, so a laptop seems like the obvious winner for capturing more information, right? Well, the research tells a very different and honestly a much more interesting story.
So check this out. A really famous study by Mueller and Oppenheimer found something fascinating. While students using laptops and those writing by hand did about the same on simple factual questions, the longhand note-takers scored significantly higher on the conceptual questions. The ones that require a real deep understanding of the material.
And here's why that happens. Typing is so fast it encourages what's called non-generative note-taking. You're basically just a human photocopier. But writing by hand is slower. It forces you into a generative process. You have to listen, digest, and summarize concepts in your own words just to keep up. You're not a copier, you're a translator. And that is where real learning begins.
But okay, here's the scary part. Even if you take the most brilliant, amazing generative notes, your brain is literally designed to forget things. I'm serious. The clock starts ticking the second the lecture ends, and that information just starts vanishing at an alarming rate.
Research on what's known as the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve is, well, it's kind of shocking. It shows that within just 10 minutes of a class ending, you've likely lost more than half of the new information you just heard. It just evaporates from your short-term memory.
And oh, it gets so much worse. If you wait just 24 hours without revisiting that material, nearly 80% of it is just gone. This is exactly why cramming feels impossible. You're not just reviewing, you're literally trying to relearn almost everything from scratch.
So how do we fight back against our own brain's tendency to forget? Well, the answer is a powerful science-backed technique called active recall. This, right here, is the absolute game changer. Active recall is the total opposite of passive review. See, it's not about getting information into your brain by rereading it over and over. It's about pulling information out of your brain. Think of it like this. Passive review is looking at a map. Active recall is putting the map away and trying to draw it from memory.
Probably the most effective way to study, then, is to see if you can teach the material. Can you actually explain a concept out loud without peeking at your notes? If you can, you really truly get it. And if you stumble, well, you've just instantly found exactly what you need to go back and review. It's perfect.
So here's the trade-off. Passive review feels easy, but it's incredibly inefficient. You might have to reread something a dozen times for it to stick. Active recall? It feels harder. It's a real mental workout. But because it's a workout, you can lock in that same information in just 1 or 2 focused attempts. You end up saving so many hours.
Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? This isn't just theory, right? Let's build your toolkit with some solid strategies you can start using today to practice active recall and get better grades with way less effort.
Here are 4 incredibly powerful ways to do it. Instead of just rereading your notes, turn them into questions and actually quiz yourself. Or close your notebook and try to recreate a mind map completely from memory. Use flashcard apps
Or, and this is my personal favorite, just pretend you're explaining the concept to someone else. An empty room works just fine. Now, digital flashcard apps like Anki or Remnote give you a secret weapon. It's called spaced repetition. The software basically learns how well you know something, and then it shows you that card right before you're about to forget it. This intelligent timing is pretty much the single most efficient way to transfer knowledge into your long-term memory for good.
And this genuinely works. I mean, look at this. Savannah, a student at UBC, said she scored top marks with half the effort after switching to this method. That's the power you get when you move from the brute force of passive review to the smarter, targeted approach of active recall.
So, it all comes down to this. You've already done the hard work of taking all those notes. The only question now is, are you going to let 80% of that effort just fade away, or are you ready to invest just a few minutes of focused practice to make that knowledge last a lifetime?